What's good, YouTube? Back with another video, and in this video I'll be showing you how to create this paper flash effect inside After Effects. It's a really clean effect that I've seen in a few of Ronnie Lewis Productions music videos, and I thought this effect looked really dope, so I wanted to break it down for you guys in this video. So make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and let's get right into it. So here in After Effects I have these clips playing from Central C featuring Lil Baby Band for Band music video. We're going to be creating this effect within 4 layers, and the effect is going to be 5 frames long. In order to get started, what we're going to do is go to the first layer that the effect will happen on, and we're going to grab that layer and go to time and freeze frame the first frame of that layer. And we're going to be doing that for all 4 of the layers because this is a paper flash effect, and these 4 layers that we're going to be creating this effect with are videos. We want to make it a freeze frame layer so that it looks like all 4 of these frames were pictures that were taken rather than videos. After freeze framing all 4 of the layers, what we're going to do is we're going to extend every single layer until it reaches the end of the timeline. And the reason why we're doing that is because every time the effect cuts into the next layer, we still always see the layer from before in the background. It's important to overlap the layers so that we don't have an empty background. After extending the layers, what we're going to do is add an adjustment layer, and I'm just going to cut this adjustment layer as the same length as our layer that we're going to create this effect with, and I'm going to add a tint to this adjustment layer. And for the tint, I'm going to make the color a little more tan rather than having it completely white. And because the layer that we're creating this effect on is a little dark, what I'm going to do is add a brightness and contrast to our adjustment layer. And I'm just going to increase the brightness to 80 and just bring that above our tint effect. And now if we look at this, it's a little brighter and the values pop out a little more. After increasing the brightness, what we're going to do is duplicate this adjustment layer 3 more times because we're going to be adding it to our other layers. So if you hit Control D, that duplicates your layer, and we're going to hit that 3 times. After doing that, what we're going to do is just bring that above each layer, and then we're going to cut our layer as the same length as the layer that we'll be creating this effect on. And now if we play this, we have all these freeze frames playing together. And then what we're going to do is grab the adjustment layer as well as the freeze frame layer and just pre-compose all of them. After pre-composing all the layers, what we're going to do is import a texture into our project. This is just a texture that I found on Google. If you search up overlay paper texture, there's a lot of different options that you guys can choose from. I personally just chose this one because it had a high resolution and I just liked the way it looked. But just go on Google and search up overlay paper textures and you can just download any of them. And once you download them, you want to import it into the project. I'm going to decrease the size of this layer as the same length as our first pre-comped layer. I'm going to then change the blending mode of this texture, and in order to do that, you just click the toggle switches and modes, change the blending mode, and I'm going to change it to add. And because the texture is feeling a little too intense, what I'm going to do is decrease the opacity to 50. Yeah, 50 looks perfect. And I'm going to also just change the look of this texture by increasing the scale and changing the position. You can change the look of the texture however you want. I just don't want to have it look exactly the way it was imported into the project. So I'm going to have mine like that. That looks good. I'm going to then duplicate this texture layer 3 times so that I can add it to our other layers and just add that above the other pre-comp layers. And I'm going to cut each texture layer the same length as all the other pre-comp layers. And then now that we have those textures in, what I'm going to do is actually create the different frames of our paper flash effect. And by doing that, I'm going to change the scale as well as the rotation for our second pre-comp layer. I'm just going to decrease the scale to 81, have this slightly rotate just so that we don't have everything to be completely straight because that just wouldn't look good. I'm then going to go to our third pre-comp layer and change the scale and the rotation for that as well. I'm going to decrease the scale and have it at 68, and then I'm going to slightly rotate this at 4 degrees. We're going to then go to our final pre-composed layer, change the scale and rotation for that as well. I'm going to decrease the scale of this layer to 60, and then have the rotation rotating the other way at -10. Just having these 3 pre-composed layers rotating in different directions makes it look a lot better rather than just having all the layers look really similar in terms of the way they're laid out. And now if we play this, we have these really cool freeze frames cutting in. Now what we're going to do is actually create that flash effect. What we're going to do is add a new adjustment layer. We're going to make this adjustment layer 3 frames long. If you click the page down button on your keyboard, that goes forward 1 frame, so you just want to click that 3 times. And then what we're going to do is add an exposure to this adjustment layer. I'm going to keyframe the exposure at 4 in the beginning, and then click the layer, click U to reveal the keyframes, and then go forward 3 frames to the end of the adjustment layer and keyframe the exposure to 0. We're going to then grab those keyframes and easy ease them, and then go into the graph editor, and I'm just going to have it animate fast in the beginning and then it animates slow. Right when the exposure starts, it animates in fast and it ends out slow. We're going to then duplicate this adjustment layer 4 times because we will also want to add one at the end right when this freeze framed layer cuts into the final scene. And then we're going to bring those layers above the beginning of all the other layers, and then a final one at the end. And now if we play this, we have this really clean paper flash effect. And that is all I have for this video. If you guys found this video helpful, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.